Joining me for more on the impact of the Ebola outbreak is TRT World's senior business producer, Azhar Sukri. Azhar, certainly some startling numbers there, but beyond that data, how did it change things in the business community?
Well, look, business everywhere in the world is done on a handshake, and that was one of the first things to be affected. It affected confidence, it affected very basic business infrastructure. For example, if you were in an office and if one of your colleagues got infected with Ebola, not only would that colleague have to be quarantined, but the entire office would have to be quarantined, and then all the families of everyone in that office would have to be quarantined. It affected supply chains, for example. Shops had to close down because people weren't able to leave their homes to go and buy things. So flights were cancelled as well. So people couldn't come into the area, people couldn't leave for business trips. Even things like the cost of clearing the dead from their homes, the cost of that went up. So it impacted people's lives and bottom lines in unimaginable ways.
And obviously the outbreak has really highlighted the role of international aid right across the region. But do you think it was actually enough to support that problem?
Yeah, I mean, we saw earlier about $3.4 billion has been pledged by the international community. But there have been criticisms that, of course, that came really late in the Ebola outbreak. But there have also been criticisms of what should have been done in the years before that. Now, for example, in the decade before the Ebola outbreak, up to 2013, the international community spent about $1.7 billion, exactly half of what's been pledged for the Ebola outbreak, for things like tuberculosis and AIDS. And the criticism is that that money was far too targeted, that in fact it should have been spent on much more general infrastructure, medical infrastructure, to build up hospitals, train doctors, and that wasn't done, and that actually helped the Ebola outbreak.
All right, Azhar, thanks very much for your time.